Hello there, hi, I'm sure you must be doing great. My name is Srikanth and I am a quality management geek turned into a transformation coach and mind power expert. And I am taking my efforts in whichever way possible to reaching out to people through various media and helping them to understand and unleash their hidden potential, be it corporates as organizations and individuals as well. So just let's quickly dive into what I had something to share with you today. In my previous video, I spoke something around the concept of E plus R is equal to O. Just taking things forward from there, just to have a quick recap, let's dive back into the mind map. So first things first, as I shared in my previous video, a very important learning which I got from my mentors, and subsequently when I applied this learning in my own life, I had seen a lot of change in my perspective and my way of looking at things. And once I brought that change, I'd seen the outcomes also getting impacted in the same way. So what exactly this formula is all about? This formula, as laid down by Jack Canfield, one of the most renowned and accomplished success coaches in the world, he simply states that we need to take 100% responsibility of whatever things happening in our life, where the most key element within that is to give up three key components, which more or less we tend to fall into a trap of that. Now, these three components are the ones which need to be given up. The first one being complaining, the second one being blaming, and the third one being judging things, or rather justifying things which are happening in our life. So blaming, complaining, and justifying. So once we give up these three elements, we see that a lot of things we start taking responsibility of the things which are happening in our life. So things which are not in our control are the events which are happening, which we cannot directly influence. So this specific formula of E plus R is equal to O is all about that, where E stands for the events which is happening in our life. It can be a smallest of event. An event can also include somebody saying something to you. So anything which happens, which you cannot directly influence or control in your sphere of whatever you do. So those things becomes the events in our life. Whereas the R stands for the response, what we give. Now a response is a particular to an event, right? Now, response can be in various ways. I will come to that. But the important aspect here to understand where O is the outcome or the result. Now, the outcome would largely depend on what kind of response we give to a particular event. So, by and large, the events as well as outcome is something which we cannot directly influence, but however, outcome can be largely influenced based on the kind of response what we give to a particular event. So, a response can be negative, a response can be positive. For example, with the current situation what we are dealing with, now let's before going into that, let's quickly also understand when we talk about events, whatever is happening outside to us, even the pandemic or the challenge what the entire world is going through at this point in time. So that is also a major and significant event, right? So something which anybody would be saying to you, or the economic situation, how it is going in the outside world, maybe any government policy changes, any regulatory requirements which gets changed, how the stock market is moving, the currency, the weather, the climate, all these things which is outside of us is the event. Now, how do we deal with each of these events in the form of the response? What we give is what is in our control. Now, response can be either negative or positive, right? A negative response can be getting into various disempowering emotions. Now, these can be fear, anxiety, worry, sadness, jealousy, greed, any of these, depression. So all of these are negative emotions which trigger out of negative responses which we give to a particular event, right? Now, on the contrary, positive responses can be in a given situation, in a given event which is happening. For example, whatever we are going through, in this, a negative response can be getting immersed into all the negative news which is getting spreading around us, spending too much of time to actually analyze, which may not be required, that what's happening and why it is happening, and how many deaths are happening, how many people are infected because of this. And all of these, what happens is that it starts breeding anxiety, it starts breeding fear. You become more anxious that what will happen. And also adding to that, if you are working and if you are the income earner in the family, there would be a lot of things associated to the earning part getting affected, being in a job or getting impacted because of this in your job or in your business or work, whatever. So adding as a fuel would be any kind of negative news or energy, and typically the sources would be either through television, through newspapers, through social media, and scrolling through various social media stuff, be it in Facebook or be it in Instagram. Or what I'm saying is that taking updates is fine, but feasting on such news is something which will put you into a negative spiral, and you will not be even realizing that you're actually becoming victim and getting stuck into that negative spiral. So once you create that awareness within yourself that this is something which is not desired and this is not something which is taking you forward or helping you to progress in life, so immediately make that shift and move into the positive spiral. Right now, positive spiral can be predominantly where you can spend more time into improvising on your skill set and mindset, right? Doing various things which probably you had been delaying and putting it in back burner. So take it forward and start working on that, and especially start looking at your finances, start planning things afresh. Look at what are the various opportunities and avenues where you can expand your skills and your knowledge, and where you see that there are certain opportunities even in the given circumstances which are growing, but however it would require new skill sets and new knowledge and mindset also to be acquired. Go through that learning curve, go through that process, right? So as time changes, we need to be adaptable. So we need to adapt ourselves to the changing times and changing scenario around us. Dinosaur was the biggest animal known to known to us on this planet, but dinosaurs existed millions of years ago, right? Though it was the most powerful and the biggest of animal ever existed on this planet, but it couldn't adapt to the changing circumstances around it. But however, there are many other animals and creatures which adapted to the changing circumstances and environment around them. So similarly, when environment, be it work or business or life, which is changing around us, we should be responding appropriately by adopting to those changing circumstances. So this is what this specific formula is all about. Now, when we are talking about the response, taking it to the next level, this is another thing which is equally important to understand. Let's go a little more deeper. Now, though I have mentioned this in acronyms, maybe you can just make a note of it. Now, yeah, again, just quickly, if you resonate with me, whatever I am sharing, and if you feel that these things are definitely important and something which will impact your life in a different way, helping you creating a different perspective, please take notes and capture them as we are moving ahead. This will help you to also refresh and refer back to them, helping you to bring you back on track. And of course, needless to say, you can run through this video as many times as you want. Okay, so this second point, once we understood E plus R is equal to O, this second point actually talks about the chain or sequence of things, how it happens or runs in our mind. Let me start with the T part. The T is something which is our thoughts, the dominant thoughts which we carry at any given point of in a day. A human being, typically an average human being, has 60 to 80,000 thoughts in an average day. So typically 60 to 80,000 thoughts coming to your mind, and some of them largely playing the role of a dominant thought, has a very strong bearing and impact on how your day turn out to be and how your life also turn out to be eventually. Thoughts leads to certain feelings. Only thoughts does not have that much of power. Now F stands for feelings, T stands for thoughts. Based on a thought, a feeling gets associated with that. Now that feeling can be neutral, that feeling can be negative, or feeling can be positive. So based on what kind of thought you carry at any given point of time, you get associated with a feeling along with that, right? A negative feeling, as I expressed earlier, it can be sadness, fear, guilt, or jealousy, or anything of that sort which is disempowering in nature. On the contrary, we can have positive feelings which is more empowering, is of joy, is of feeling excited, the expression of love, expression of gratitude, expression of appreciation, right? Expression of being hopeful all the time. So this is things which will keep you in that positive state of mind. Now, when thoughts and feelings are aligned, then based on thoughts and feelings, we tend to take action. A stands for action. Right now, action would predominantly come from what kind of thoughts and feelings we carry at any point of time. Now, also, when the thoughts and feelings are typically neutral, and also based on the kind of thoughts and feelings what we have, either the action can be again negative in nature, action can be positive in nature, or there can be inaction also. Inaction means not taking any action. Now, when you are not taking any action is also a form of response. Right? It's also a form of action, right? Knowing things, how things are turning around us, and uh, procrastinating and not taking actions at the time when it is required to be done, again is a form of action. Or procrastination again happens because of all these elements where where you feel there is uncertainty, and uncertainty breeds fear also many a times, right? Uncertainty can be looked as an adventure, uncertainty can be looked as a fear. It depends on what kind of thing which you carry. I will come back to that, where because it is linked to this element of P which is placed before the thought. So hang on to this, we will come back to this. So based on the action, the A part, once you take, then the result or outcome is linked and associated to that all the time. So the O, as we understood in E plus R is equal to O, same thing is the result. The result and outcome is something which reinforces your belief very strongly on a particular thing. So R leads to something which is called as past conditioning. Now P stands for past conditioning, R stands for results, P stands for past conditioning. Past conditioning is, past is anything just beyond this moment, just before this moment. Whatever has happened in your life right from the day you were born till this last moment, just before now, is your past conditioning. Now past conditioning is a repository of your belief system. It's your blueprint, right, which is there in your mind. Now that is your reference point for each of the thoughts which are happening in your mind, right? So past conditioning largely influences your thoughts in your mind, and thoughts lead to feelings and thoughts put together, they kind of drive us to take actions, certain actions, and based on certain actions, whatever we take consistently over a period of time would lead to the results or the outcome, right? And based on the outcome of result, and again it goes and reinforces your conditioning. So now this is a cycle which continues throughout our life, every time, every moment, right? Also at the same time, the past conditioning, thoughts and feelings, while they are happening, another important thing as per the science which we need to understand, and I'm sure you might have read about it, you might have heard about it, you might be already pretty knowledgeable about it. This is something which is called as law of attraction. Right now, law of attraction, again, it has been proved through science, is something which exists, which is something is in the form of energy. So our thoughts and feelings also, they carry energy in that. Now, as everything on this universe, in this universe, is made up of energy. That's what we have learned since our schooling days, that energy cannot be created, energy cannot be destroyed, it can only transform from one way to another way. So similarly, our mind also, through our thoughts, we release energy and we operate at a certain frequency, and this is also called as vibes or vibrations. So V stands for vibes or vibrations. So based on the past conditioning, our thoughts are influenced, and thoughts influences our feelings, and based on the thoughts and feelings, we tend to emit that frequency or vibration in the universe. Now once we emit that frequency and vibration as a transmitter, so your mind operates as a transmitter. So when it emits that vibe or that frequency, there is a receiver which exists in this universe. So that receiver gets connected to, based on the kind of frequency at what we are operating at. The more dominant thought, the more dominant frequency, if it is maintained consistently over a period of time, then the universe gets tuned in and understands that, okay, this is the frequency this person is operating at. Then it tends to bring that kind of circumstances, events, people, ideas, resources which are aligned to that kind of frequency at which you are operating at. Okay. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, the system, the way universe operates, it does not differentiate between what kind of feelings or what kind of vibration or frequency at which you are operating at. It does not understand good or bad. It does not understand positive or negative. Whatever frequency you are tuned in at, it will bring the same things in your life. You can reflect back into your life and you can see that whatever dominant thoughts which you had most of the times, and whatever dominant feelings associated to those thoughts you had most of the times, you would be attracting similar things in your life. You would be attracting similar people as in people with different names but similar characteristics. If you had a bad experience with somebody and all the time you are carrying that grudge, that feeling of negative vibes about that particular individual, even if you have went apart with that person, you will tend to attract people with similar frequency in your life. The name of the people might be different, the gender might be different, the age might be different, but you will see the characteristics are similar. Okay, the same would happen with anything else also, which you might be having in the form of your thoughts and feelings. Now this is something which is important to understand as the next aspect when it comes to uh, once we have understood E plus R is equal to O, understanding this part is pretty important. uh, okay, let me just quickly correct this nomenclatures here. Sorry, my bad. Okay, let's move ahead. Fine, fair enough. Let's moving to the next important thing to understand. Now, when we are talking about these thoughts and feelings, now where these thoughts and feelings they are coming from? Uh, Something which we understand physically is something which is here in our head. Now, if you put a cross section, or if you cut and open the head, what do you see physically? We see something which is called as brain. Now, if something which is tangible, something which we can see, which is a brain, which we understand, which is one of the most primary, and most important organ in our body, then what is mind? Are mind and brain same, or are they different? Have you ever seen and felt mind? Let's try and understand this with some examples and analogy. We have seen incandescent bulb, we have seen light, or anything which produces light, right? Now, this is a device which runs on something which is called as electricity. Something which we see physically, which is emitting light, this is something which is like our brain. But what makes it happen? What runs that? There is an energy which is not visible to our naked eyes, but it exists, right? Which is called as electricity. Now, electricity is our mind, which is the energy behind it. That is the source which runs the brain, right? So similarly, the mind is the source which actually executes and runs our brain. Another similar analogy to understand and differentiate between these two is something like a hardware and a software. In a computer, there is a hardware which is physically can be understood, which can be seen, but there is an intelligence behind that hardware which runs this computer or laptop or any other electronic device. The intelligence which runs that is the software. So your mind is like the software, right? Your brain is like the hardware. So your brain does not operate to its maximum efficiency unless and until the software is right. And you must have experienced that the efficiency and performance of your hardware gets impacted if your software runs bad, if it is outdated, if it is not programmed properly, if there are bad sectors within that, and if there are some virus which is getting into it and which is impacting it, right? So as we understand, the viruses which goes into the software impacts the performance of that device. The viruses in the open environment, if it gets into your body, it impacts your performance as human. We feel sick, we fall ill, and we need to have certain medications or certain treatment or therapy which we have to go through for improving our physical condition, to battle that fight with that virus and to overcome that, right? Similarly, when we talk about mind, what we are doing about it, a very important and interesting fact to be understood. If all of this is true in the physical or outside world, what is that we are doing with the inside world part of it? If we understand the importance of this, we need to treat our mind also the same way and handle it also the same way. Okay, so dealing with the viruses in our mind, first of all acknowledging and understanding this part, and also dealing with them over a period of time, what kind of programming we have, what kind of viruses our mind gets impacted with, is something we should be aware about, and we should definitely take various actions around it. There are various methods and tools which will help you to discover this in a systematic manner, and would also help you to implement those tools consistently in an effective way over a period of time, which will help you to uh, reprogram your mind in the positive and the right way. Okay, trying to understand the difference between these two, as I said, the hardware and software analogy, bulb versus electricity analogy. Brain is something which is outside, mind is something which is inside. Brain is something which actually drives mainly the IQ part, and the EQ part is more something which is there inside our our mind. We'll understand that a little bit more, but net net what we are saying is this entire concept revolves around this part of mastering our thoughts. Because why I am saying so, because the thoughts, when we spoke, we if we go try and understand the point number A, we spoke about E plus R is equal to O, R coming out from our thoughts and feelings predominantly. And thoughts and feelings plays a very important role, because everything whatever is happening in our life is being driven through that. And if thoughts and feelings are so important, from where they are they coming from our brain, or are they coming from our mind? That's what we are trying to understand, right? So essentially important to understand here is the thoughts and feelings are mainly coming from our mind, actually coming from our mind. Now if that is true, let's try and understand quickly also this dimension of our mind itself. Now mind again can be categorized into these two different types, right? One is the conscious mind, the other one is the subconscious mind. Quickly, let's dive in to understand what is the difference between the conscious mind and subconscious mind. Something very, very interesting, something very, very important for you to understand and know here. Conscious mind is something which has got only 10% of the total power your mind has, and 90% of power lies with your subconscious mind. Right? Something very astonishing, but this is the fact, this is the truth, right? Conscious mind is something which can be understood as which is the boss, which gives the direction, which gives the command. And the subconscious mind is like the subordinate, which takes the direction and command and starts working based on it. The third, a very important and easy analogy to differentiate and understand a conscious mind is like the Aladdin in the story, as we have read in our childhood, and your subconscious mind is like the genie. We also remember the famous quote or dialogue which the genie always says whenever a command is being given by Aladdin. What the genie would always say, "Jo hukum mere aaka," in Hindi, or in English, "Your wish is my command." So when Aladdin gives any command, the genie never questions, the genie never evaluates, the genie never does any kind of reasoning to that, because conscious mind is having this role of going through the reasoning part, analyzing, applying logic. So all the logical stuff with respect to maths, data and numbers, and evaluating analysis and put reasoning around it, all these things is being done by the logical mind or the conscious mind. Whereas the subconscious mind is something which is more creative in nature, which brings about the creativity in an individual, because it is more focused towards bringing the solution towards a particular problem, right? Subconscious mind understands only two directions broadly. One is achieving goals, and the second is solving problems. This is the only two things our mind does in our entire life, right? And how harmoniously our conscious and subconscious mind they work together is what will determine how our entire life turns out to be, right? That's the power of both of these minds, and especially the subconscious mind. Because why I'm emphasizing this, because right from our childhood our programming is such that most of the time we had spent our time in our life, because whatever, I don't know, fortunately unfortunately our education system has trained us to be more focusing on the IQ part, on the logical part, on the analyzing and reasoning part, more than actually following our hunches, following our gut feel, following our creativity. That is where the power of our subconscious mind lies, because the subconscious mind, each of our subconscious mind is aligned to something which is a divine and something which can be called as an infinite source of intelligence, an infinite source of power which exists in the outside, in this universe. All of us, we have that understanding. All of us believe that there is something which is like a supreme power above anything else, which actually runs this entire universe. Everything in this universe is being run by that infinite intelligence, that infinite power. Our subconscious mind is aligned to that. Let's understand this. Now, when our subconscious mind is aligned to that, this means that subconscious mind also has immense power to make things happen in your life the way we want and the way we desire. Now, the good news is that whatever is the current scenario, the current situation where you are in your life, that can be changed by having the right awareness, by raising our consciousness level, by bringing in the right knowledge and understanding, improving our awareness. Once the consciousness level increases, also we start thinking differently, we start having the right feelings, we start bringing in that alignment with the universe, and then things around us starts changing. Whatever I'm saying, understand, this is, though this is a knowledge which I have gathered, that this is something which I have not invented this. I have gained this understanding from the people who matter to me in my life, my mentors, my guide, and various other sources also, where again I have used my conscious mind to validate this information and knowledge with people who have achieved massive success in life. So people who have achieved success and have applied these concepts very well in their life, and they can bring about change. Definitely it should work for me also. Now, while I'm saying this, a lot of this concept is something which I keep on applying in my life. Since the time I have realized the importance and power of these, I have seen shift and changes happening in my own life, professionally also, personally also. Things which probably were impacting my life negatively, I could overcome those aspects a lot by applying these principles, applying this knowledge. So just to share a bit about it. Coming back to understanding the difference between conscious and subconscious mind. Conscious mind is something which is only working during the hours or time when you are awake, whereas subconscious mind is something which is working around the clock, 24 hours during the entire day, right? A very, very important analogy to understand the difference between conscious and subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is like a gardener or a farmer, whereas your subconscious mind is like the land, which is again an infinite source, right? What does a gardener or a farmer do is the task of sowing the seed. But whether the land, whether it will ever question what is the kind of seed which is being sown into the land, being sown into the land by the farmer, it will never question. So the land will not revert back and ask a question to the gardener and farmer and saying that why you are sowing this seed, why you are sowing a small seed, why you are sowing a big seed. It will never question that. But what the land will do in turn, a fertile land, if proper care is being taken of the seed and the process is being followed of protecting the seed, nurturing it, and following the process of yielding the result, the land will give output in abundance based on what is the kind of seed which is being sown, irrespective. Now, again, if you see, just by applying our common sense or logical mind, a small tiny seed, how it can translate and transform into such a huge tree, right, which is there for maybe even hundreds of years, right? Many trees that are there in existence for hundreds of years as well, right? And they keep on giving the fruits or the outcome. Okay, if you see both of these logically, actually even the human brain is not able to decipher it or decode it to the extent completely, but this is what the nature is, this is how the universe operates. Similarly, with the same analogy, if we try and understand that each of the thoughts what we carry in a given day is like a seed, and when we are using that seed and sowing it in our subconscious mind, which is our land, the land will work it around and make it happen based on what is the seed which has been sown. But again, understand, as I explained earlier, the land would not differentiate between what is the kind of seed which has been sown. It can be that of a beautiful flower or a fruit or a vegetable or any good plant which would be useful for you. On the contrary, it can be a seed of a deadly poison which has been sown into that land. Land would not differentiate, it would give both of them in equal abundance. Okay, so The thoughts can be in the form of words, images, feelings, whatever we have, right? Also, importantly, the gardener need to understand that once a thought or a seed is been sown into the land, there is something which is called as law of farm, right? Now, this what does this signify? This signifies that everything has got a gestation period. You cannot rush with the outcome. You cannot have shortcuts with the outcome, right? So similarly, in your life also, unfortunately, we tend to fall in this trap of instant gratification and want things as fast as possible, as soon as possible. So everything has got a gestation period, right? There is gestation period for a baby to be born. There is gestation period for a plant to grow once the seed is sown into a pot or in a land, right? So this is what the law of farm says. You cannot speeden up the process, which will further impact in a negative way. So again, a simple analogy is once the seed has been sown by the farmer or the gardener, if the gardener is becoming desperate that why the seed is not germinating, why nothing is coming out of the, he is not able to see anything on the surface. What is happening beneath the ground, what work has been done by the land is not known to the farmer. What's happening underneath is not known to the farmer. So let it not be questioned, right? There is gestation period for things. There is no specific time which one can predict, which one can define very accurately with 100% confidence, saying that this is going to happen within that time, come what may. Nature will take care of things itself. So rather than focusing on the what and how part, for us, what is in our control is to take the right actions and detaching from the result or the outcome. So always be in an expectancy mode, right? A farmer or a gardener will always be in an expectancy mode because the farmer or gardener would always be visualizing a beautiful garden or a beautiful yield which is coming out of the plantation, whatever has been done. What is in control is to water that, is to give proper manure and to take care of any kind of weeds which might be coming in. See, understand, these negative thoughts are just like weeds in our mind. Interestingly, the funny part is weed does not require any kind of watering or any kind of nurturing or taking care to be done for that. Weeds would just appear from anywhere, right? So our negative thoughts are just like those weeds. What does the farmer or gardener does is to remove those weeds time to time and ensure that the plant and the whatever is being sown is being protected, right? So this is something to understand the difference between the conscious and subconscious mind, and what is the kind of power our subconscious mind actually has and it carries. Now, while we are talking about all of these, and a very important element is, or a question which might be coming to your mind, that tracing it back, the most important aspect is the kind of thought and feelings what we have. If thoughts and feelings eventually are actually leading how the way your life is getting translated into, then thoughts and feelings play a very, very important and significant role. And how to ensure most of the times in a day that you are having the right thoughts, it's to ensure that you are tuning to the right frequency. I'm sure, again, it is human. It's not possible that every time you are in a very upbeat and high frequency, there would be a fluctuation. But ensure that whenever you are moving into probably a disempowering and not so positive thought or feeling, be aware and ensure that you are moving back into the upward spiral. Some of the tools or methods which can be helpful for you to be tuned into the right frequency by raising your vibration. Some of them which are definitely helpful. A very powerful method or tool is meditation. Now, meditation is not, people tend to have this misnomer that meditation is something which is like a prayer. Prayer is also something which has got immense power, right? A collective consciousness of multiple people doing together, a collective consciousness of multiple people praying at the same time has got exponential impact or effect of raising the collective vibration on this planet, right? Now, while the prayers are also something which is very important to raise your vibration, the more you do, the more you are in the right frequency. Also, meditation is something which is different than prayer. How I have understood this is with a simple understanding is prayer is more like a one-way communication which I am doing to this universe. right? Or to the higher power, whatever we might be calling it, a God or supreme power above us. Now, prayer is a one-way communication, which maybe I am doing. Whereas when I am meditating, it is more of a two-way communication. While I'm meditating, I am taking conscious efforts where there is noise which is there in my conscious mind, and I'm taking efforts to subside that noise. It's just like a water. When you throw a stone in a water, it creates ripple, and when ripple is there, you cannot see your own reflection in that. If you have to see your own reflection in the water needs to get settled. It need to be silent, right? And the noise in that should get settled. Similarly, you cannot see sun if there is too much of fog and too much of cloud around it. So that fog and cloud need to get cleared so that you can see the brightness of the sun, right? So same thing is with our mind also. The conscious mind is always busy with too many things happening in it. You need to take effort to help your conscious mind to get settled, and that is something which can be done in a very powerful way through meditation. What meditation helps is to bring your conscious mind into control and help it get settled. And once it gets settled, you get to understand what your subconscious mind is telling you. And also, you can take conscious effort to reprogram your subconscious mind in the way you want. The beauty is that subconscious mind can be reprogrammed at any given point of time. And once you start doing it consistently, it would become a habit, because then your subconscious mind would get used to that new program, that new way of understanding, thinking, and behaving, right? So that it works towards erasing those old patterns. Now, because your subconscious mind is something which is all the time aligned and connected to the supreme source outside in the universe, it will work towards helping your goals to get achieved. Because if you are using these methods of doing certain things while you are meditating, some of the very important principles of gratitude, of forgiveness, of affirmations, of visualizations. And while you are talking about affirmation and visualization, these are the tools which will help you to align to your goals which you want to achieve in your life, short term, mid term, and long term goals. So this means that you are reaching out to your subconscious mind and helping it to understand that this is something which you want, this is something which you want to achieve. So then your subconscious mind starts working around it, and it will attract and bring that kind of ideas, that kind of people, that kind of circumstances, that kind of events in your life. Now, talking about gratitude and forgiveness, now this is something which will help you to raise your vibration and be in the highest possible frequency all the time, most of the time. And once you start your day with that, this is the best thing to do, right? So while you are meditating at whatever time is convenient to you, these four components is something which will be very, very helpful and useful for you to raise your vibrations. Gratitude is something, is needless to say, being grateful about things around us, right? There are so many things to be grateful, and particularly in today's scenario, whatever we are going through in this challenge of pandemic, the entire globe is facing the same challenge at the same time. And people who are fighting this battle is not only the people who are suffering with the impact of the virus. It is the people who are protecting the others not getting infected and impacted because of that. The doctors, the nurses, the entire medical fraternity, the other services, the police, the cops who are ensuring that the law and order is being maintained, the housekeeping staff probably in your society, in your workplace, in your organization, wherever you are working, and anybody and everybody who are providing you the essential goods and services in an uninterrupted way, in the best possible way, even in the given challenging situation. So there are so many people who are doing their best to help you lead a normal life. We need to be grateful to each one of them. Also, the systems which is built around you, anything, the technology. Now today we are connected, and you are able to see me, you are able to hear me, and I am also able to reach out to many people at the same time, sitting at the comfort of my home and using the technology. People who have brought in this technology, there are so many hundreds, thousands, and millions of people who constantly keep on striving to improve the technology around us. So everything which is there available to us at our disposal, which makes our life much more comfortable, much more productive, we have to be grateful to them. Being grateful to all the relationships around us, which helps us to have that kind of right feeling, and being appreciated most of the time, being joyful, people who help you to be in the motivated space, right? Who encourage you, who support you all the time, And especially when they do this unconditionally, right from our childhood, our parents and people who are close to us, our spouse, our kids, and everybody, right, your friends, your extended family, everybody, you need to be thankful to those relationships, being thankful to our health, our body, our physical state, and our mental state, right? Each of the organ, understand, our body is the most beautiful engineering which this universe had ever done, right? This is the best example of engineering, right? Each of the organ, each of the cell in our body, we need to be thankful to it. You need to be really grateful to it. Imagine now, when my mentor explained me this concept of gratitude, initially it was a little bit, again, because my conscious mind was applying its own logic, I was finding it difficult to understand that how gratitude would actually work. The easiest way, my mentor told me, is that if you find it difficult to be grateful about something, just think about if that thing is not there in your life, how it would be, right? If you're talking about the physical state, my body, I have to simply think in a way that if I cannot be, for example, if I am finding it difficult to be grateful for the eyes which I have, how my life would be if I don't have my eyes. If I'm not finding it easy or comfortable to be grateful for my hands or my legs, just I need to think about what my life would be without them. So anything, if you're finding it difficult to be grateful about, just think your life without that. You will understand the importance and power of gratitude. The food on our table, the clean water what we drink, your vehicles which we use, the prosperity which you have, the work or job what you do, the things which helps you to earn a livelihood, right? The prosperity and whatever level of finance or money what you have in your life, being grateful to that. So there are so many things to be grateful about, right? So that is the power of gratitude. Now, gratitude is the best way to immediately, so it actually helps you to shift your frequency immediately and raise your vibration levels, right? Similarly, to forgiveness is like getting detached with any kind of emotions what you have. So forgiveness helps you to detach with any kind of ill feelings which you might be there for yourself or for somebody. So just take conscious effort to forgive yourself. First important thing is to forgive yourself and not carry that burden. Detach yourself from any kind of feelings which might be there, which might be bothering you, which might be impacting you in a negative way. Try to detach with that and constantly keep on going through this affirmation and visualization for your goal. So doing these 4 steps itself would significantly raise the vibration, and constantly being aligned to that throughout your day would also help you being in that state of mind. Also, things like love, gratitude, appreciation, most of the times would help you to be in that right frequency. So net, this is the summary of things which I felt would be pretty useful for you. So that's why I shared. So you can refer back to this video as many times as you want, and this is something which I'm sure referring it back multiple times, you will get different insights, you will get different learning which will help you. So this is what I wanted to share, and if you really like this video, if you feel that this content was useful for you, which you can apply in your life and see that shift and change happening, so please subscribe to my channel, and also please give your comment. Please like this video if you have really liked it, and share your views, share your feedback, how it is helping you while you are applying this. And also please share your takeaways. It's something very, very important. I would like you to share what are the key things which you have learned from this video. So please subscribe to my channel, please press the bell icon, and also share your comments, right? See you very soon with my next upcoming video. Bye bye for now, and have a great day.